Let's talk about how do you avoid burnout? What do you do to protect your energy?
I don't know that it is ultimately avoidable. I haven't perfected that. Now, complete burnout, no, that hasn't happened. One, I'm in an industry, I own the company, I'm doing something I'm passionate about. It's really hard to get burnout on something you're passionate about. I got burnout in baseball. I liked baseball, but I wasn't passionate about baseball. And I came from a baseball family, but it was constant pressure. Pitch this, work on this pitch, work on your hitting, blah, 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 all these exercises. And because I wasn't passionate about it, I got burnt out. But when it came to basketball, I would play in the freezing rain. And we had a concrete driveway. And I remember one winter I got a new goal, and we had snow and ice, one of those rare times that we had snow and ice in Tennessee. I put jogging pants on and a long t-shirt on and went out and shot. And you can't do crossovers or anything on sheets of ice, but I could work on something. And because it was fun, I put in way more hours than anybody else on my teams that I ever played with. And because of that, I was better. Now, hindsight, they would look at it and say, he's talented. See, people search for an excuse. Well, I'm not talented, and that's why I don't excel. I was athletic, but I don't even think that was natural either. I could jump through the gym, and I could easily go back to, I love being on a trampoline. Well, that's constantly leg exercises and jumping. I love playing in my room. I remember my dad, because my room, me and my brother's room was right next to my mom and dad's room in this small 3-bedroom house, and I had a Nerf goal. Well, I was always, if I wasn't outside, then I was inside playing on that Nerf goal. Think about the constant jumping. And then I would go to the gym. Once I got older, I would go to the gym and work out because I wanted to jump. So then they don't see any of that. They don't see how I was raised and how I was brought up and what my passion was and how I constantly worked on it, and then go to the gym to be able to do it. All they see is the tip of the iceberg of, holy crap, that dude can jump out of the gym. I wish I was born with that ability. I wasn't either. I wasn't born with that ability. I just found something I was passionate in and constantly worked on it, and that's why I was able to do it. And that's why I excelled at basketball and was able to go to college for free playing basketball. So one, follow your passion. It's hard to get burnt out in following your passion, but even then, avoid burnout completely by just having a complete reset. Distance yourself from the situation, pray, find space, meditate, whatever it is, and then come back to it with a different mindset. So I wish I had a really huge golden nugget of how to avoid burnout, but I don't.
What boundaries do you have in your life to protect your family time? What does that look like for you?
Well, I can't wait for my wife to watch this one. I can tell you in theory, most of it in theory, some of it practical and what I actually exercise on. In theory, just understand that they are the priority. The reason why you do all the things that you do is for them. I don't do things so that I could drive a fancy car. I don't. I've got an F-350 Super Duty dually, ugly as sin. And my other car that I drive is a Kia Sorento, like 2020 Kia Sorento, just because it's good on gas mileage. Well, I didn't purchase those cars for me to look good. Just because it's economical. I needed a farm truck, and I need something that's good on gas to get to and from the office, and that can also carry some kids. I do what I do because I want to provide for them. Now, that's not the only reason. I do have some self-identity in being an entrepreneur and trying to be successful because I was a competitive athlete. I've always been a competitive person, so I want to be competitive in something else. And business just happens to be one of those. It's like, okay, well, that's part of my identity too. I want to be good. And you'll find yourself working on that craft if you're competitive and you're passionate about something when you shouldn't be. But in theory, and I don't always do this, but what I should do is, have exercises where it's like, okay, from this time to this time, there's no devices. Because that's really the biggest thing. It's the phone. We have work right there at our fingertips. I remember when you left the office, you didn't have the technology to still work. So you left it at the office. And I think we need to get back to that, whether that's, have some kind of lockbox when you come home. You put all your devices in there, no TV, play a board game. Me and my wife did this actually earlier this week, where it was, it's this, I forget the name of this game, but it's like, we got one for teens, one for kids, one for family. And it's these cards, and we call it like a date card. But it's family, or it's PG related, it's not R related. So pull out a card and it asks a question. And so me and my wife did this the other night, and I've known her for almost 20 years now. And this week, I found out things that I never even knew. And it was just good conversation. We weren't looking at the phone. We weren't watching TV. This was after the kids went to bed. And it was just good conversation. Things I didn't know and things that she didn't know about me. Like simple stuff. Have you ever stole? And she's like, yeah. And all of hers was when she was a kid. And, I know this isn't, a publicist would be like, yeah, please don't share this. But I did. I remember in college, I did. I was big into supplements, and we had a teammate that was no longer on the team, and he worked at a supplement company. And he's like, yeah, dude, they don't have any cameras. And we were big into amino acids and creatine and all that. And he's like, just come in and purchase something, and, it's basically buy one, get one free. I did that one time. Did I feel guilty? Absolutely. If my parents knew about it, they would absolutely, I don't care how old I get or how big I get. I'm never too big for a spanking. So yeah, I felt bad about it, but she's like, I never knew that. So I was like, yeah, I actually did one time. I remember in college I stole. And all of hers, those were super innocent, like candy bar when she's like 4 or 5 years old or something like that. Oh, God, you're a freaking saint. But yeah, it was cool going through that exercise. But I think understanding that they are the priority, you do what you do for them, and just set boundaries and shut it off and be intentional with their time. I will say, it is super hard when you have as many kids as I do, because they all want attention at the same time. Especially when I come home. They've been with her all day, so they all get to ask her questions for 8 hours, right? Let's say I'm at the office for 8 hours. Well, let's say I come home at 5 or 6 o'clock. Well, their bedtime is 8:30, so they got 2.5 hours to get daddy time before they go to bed. So they're all asking questions at the same time. It's a juggling act, and if somebody out there could really leave me some advice instead of me giving you advice, I'm open to it, because it's a juggling act. It's spinning plates for sure. Do I struggle to be present? 100%. Again, I go back to, I'm passionate about what I do. I am competitive about what I do. I want to be really good or great at what I do. I have amazing mentors and coaches that are many levels above me that give me inspiration to work on my craft, to get better at what I do. Therefore, all of that provides an environment where I struggle to be present, 100%. I do have, here's where I will give myself a pat on the back. I don't work on Fridays. I decided years ago, and it's actually from a former business partner. It's one of the few things I can give him credit for. The advice was, we're going to own a business, not the business own us. And we're going to create it to where you don't want to work on Friday, you don't work on Friday. I'm like, cool. Who doesn't like a long weekend, right? So I don't work on Fridays. And my partners know that. All the people that work for us, they know that. Don't bother me. I'm for the most part tuned out on Fridays. I don't come in the office, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's time with family. It's during the week that I struggle, Monday through Thursday, that I struggle to be present. The weekends, I don't struggle nearly as much to be present.